Okay, this is my third day recording. This is so much fun. I feel like I haven't figured out the right settings on my microphone. I'm sorry to anyone who's like, wow, this is really still kind of in my face, but sorry to anyone who's really good with tech. I'm sure you can hear stuff going on, but anyway, we're third lining it. We're doing some trial and error, and genuinely looking forward to doing these rambly podcast style episodes. It is kind of the highlight of my day at this point. This morning, I went for coffee again, got a decaf, so not feeling as on one today, and then went to the gym. And I've been so consistent in the gym in Sydney, which is crazy. My mom and my sister are big gym girls, and one of my 2026 goals is to feel confident in the gym. I did a lot of sport when I was younger, but the gym has always intimidated me. It's typically not an environment I feel very comfortable in. But we're getting there. Like today I was really proud of myself. I was like doing my own thing. I was lifting weights. I didn't give a shit. I feel like every time I go, I'm getting more confident. So win for me. So that was my morning. And today, top of my mind, what I want to talk about, and I already know this is going to be a multi-part series because there's just so much to talk about. There's so much to unpack, but I want to talk about dating for the first time at 28. Yes, you heard that correctly. Dating for the first time at 28. The last couple of months, putting myself out there, having more experiences, and learning a lot. Learning a lot about myself. And I think in this episode, I kind of want to talk about my journey, like leading up to feeling ready, quote unquote ready. I don't think you're ever ready, but to like put myself out there again. So yeah, I want to talk about like how I got to that point. There was something else I was gonna say, but totally gone. Yeah. Oh, okay. That was the other thing I was gonna say. I feel like in terms of like human design, for me, the first 7 years was like deconditioning my own shit, my own mind, my own distortion, however you want to call it. And now I feel like the next 7 years for me is going to be like deconditioning within relationships, like how to maintain a sense of self, or like how to literally be yourself in connection, in relationships with others. And I want to make a caveat that I don't think that's something you ever can achieve fully, because like when you're in a relationship, like what is that? Like whether it's doesn't have to be romantic, but like any kind of connection, friendship, even like a work connection, any kind of connection, like you are conditioning each other. And as my friend always likes to remind me, Sarah, if you're watching this, but yeah, it's like the relationship is the secret third thing that emerges between two people. Like it's not two separate individuals together. There's also like the entity of the relationship or the connection itself. In human design, you would look at that as, you know, a connection chart. Like it's not either or, it's this like third thing. So anyway, so much to discuss. So let's begin with like, I don't know, like what led me to being like chronically single until I was 28. And I definitely like, I definitely haven't been like Like, I've been in situations before. I just haven't been in a quote unquote long term relationship. So I've had like very spare, is that the word? I haven't had a lot of dating experience. What would happen is like, usually when I was traveling, it's like every guy I've ever had a thing with, um, some kind of situation with, I either met when I was traveling or lived like in a different state or all of the above. Um, and I just feel like that's such a 3-5 thing that's like, of course, it was never going to be like my neighbor. Like, it was never going to be someone from my hometown. It's like someone that I meet as I'm bumping into strangers. And it would happen very sporadically, and it would happen like I never went looking for it. And so I'm someone who has never gone looking for relationships in terms of like love and romance. I definitely have had I've definitely had periods of like yearning as any girl like does, and I think especially this affected me more when I was younger, like in high school or in my early 20s. But in general, I don't think I've ever felt incomplete without a relationship, and I haven't felt the same sort of like need or like drive to like make that happen, which I think I talked about yesterday. It's like, I think some people really feel that, like, I guess, like, I don't say incomplete, but like, yeah, they feel more driven towards connection and relationships. I wonder with human design if this is more split definitions, undefined egos, undefined G's. That's also a theory of mine, that like my design having defined G, defined emotions, defined ego, like I'm not looking for love because I have my own sense of identity and love. I'm not looking for like the emotional juice from someone else because I have my own emotional experience. And I'm a defined ego. Like, I don't feel like I need a relationship to validate my sense of self-worth. I don't feel unworthy without a connection. And actually, I know, like, as a defined ego, as a tribal defined ego as well, it's like relationships take work. Like, like, shouldn't say that as like chronically single person. Like, who am I to be like, relationships take work? But I think like with that 37-40, it's like every relationship, friendship, whatever, like you have this inherent sense of like there is an exchange or a bargain, or like it's work to show up in relationships. And so it's like, with this person, do I actually have the willpower or like energy to show up 40th gate, or would I rather be alone? And I see with a lot of 37-40s, it's really like all or nothing. It's like, I would rather be alone because this connection is like too much work for me. Can also flip on the other side where 37-40s can like, this is something else I'm like working with, but I really see with 37-40s can also, it's like they either have really strong boundaries or really weak boundaries. And like say yes like so often that they feel like burnt out, or they're like they can't say no to people, or yeah, it's like total shutdown, I need to be alone, walls up, everyone fuck off. And maybe this is just my own experience, but anyway, so yeah, I've never felt incomplete without a relationship, and I've never had a drive or like I haven't had a lot of a drive to be like, I need to go out there and make the screen bigger for me. I need to go out there and like make it happen. And so I kind of just assumed that it would find me. So, and it like, it did at certain times, but with the connections I had in the past, I can see like from an energetic lens and just like in terms of like how old I was being in my younger 20s. Okay, it's like, I know I just talked about not like searching for love because I didn't feel incomplete without it, but when I would find someone I really liked, I would start to feel that like obsession and like needing to lock them down, like needing someone to commit to me. And like I would just constantly find myself in this pattern where it's like I was like really into someone and we kind of like had a thing for a while, and then it felt like I was more like I felt like they would pull away, and it started to make me anxious. And like, yeah, I would come up with all these scenarios in my head of like, I think just projecting a lot onto the connection and not seeing it for what it is. And I think this is a sign of limerence. Shout out to my other friend Sarah if you're watching this. But yeah, I think I used to struggle really badly with limerence and projecting qualities onto a relationship or a person or a connection that like were just not there, and just obsessing over it. And I think like that obsession is like literally what pushed people away from me. Like that, it was that like energetic flip where, because I wanted someone so desperately, like once I liked someone, I wanted so desperately to lock them down. And like that desperation is what makes people on a subconscious level, even if it's not conscious, like pull away from you. Like that's what I'm telling you. This like energetic stuff is just making a lot of sense to me the last like 6 months. And like especially in dating, I feel like I've clicked like something for myself in that department, which I'll get into. But yeah, it's like in the past I would obsess over this person and then they would pull away, leave me, not ready for a relationship, but jump into a relationship with someone else, or go back to their ex, or like whatever it is. And the last time that that happened a couple of years ago, I kind of just like, I think that was some sort of nail in the coffin. I mean, it was a really dark time for me in general, but I think I was like, fuck it. Like, fuck it. I literally don't care anymore. And like, yeah, as I said, definitely in a very like dark, nihilistic phase during that time. But I think that last, I hope you can't hear my mom in the background because she talks so loud. She's talking to her mom on the phone. They call every day. But yeah, that like last guy, it was, I think, the nail in the coffin in terms of like, I don't think I'll ever romanticize a connection or person again. I know it's like a big statement, and I'm gonna say like never say never, but I do feel like that was like for me like final boss moment in my limited dating experience. But and also like I think now that I'm 28, and this last experience of like really projecting a fantasy onto this person, it happened like I was like my mid-20s. And so I do think there is a significant shift that happens from, yeah, I mean, obviously from your mid-20s to your late 20s, from your early 20s to your late 20s, like holy shit. Even though they say your frontal lobe develops at like 25, I genuinely feel like it was like 27 or even 28 where something in my brain like fucking clicked into place. I don't feel, and like again, could be with everything else that's been going on in my life, the deconditioning, like the journey I've been on. But yeah, I think like you really do feel that shift in your late 20s, and you just don't feel as reactive anymore, or like I don't know. It's like this sort of mellowing vibe that I don't know how else to describe it except like brain is turned on, and suddenly I don't feel like I'm romanticizing relationships anymore. So, as you guys know, as I've shared in I think my first episode, I was very depressed for a couple of years, in the middle of my human design experiment, like 2021 to 2023, 2024, 2021 to 2024, the dark ages. And obviously when you're feeling really down, and also I had horrible cystic acne up until I was 25. Like, I have to give myself credit that, like, yeah, of course I didn't want to like put myself out there to date anyone. Like, I genuinely like could barely look in the mirror. Like, it was really bad. Thank God for Accutane. If you're considering Accutane, just fucking do it. I don't care. So yeah, terrible acne, really depressed, like, yeah, feeling really ashamed and like embarrassed about myself. And something that I really had to unpack last year, and maybe the year before as well, like a big part of my healing journey, I don't know, psychological healing journey, was getting over my shame complex. I have, maybe it never goes away, like a very deep shame complex. And to like use human design language in that, like, shame is connected to the third line. Like, I don't know, it makes so much sense. Like, I clearly still find so much value from a lot of the keynotes and stuff that I learned through human design. But I had such a deep shame complex, and I felt ashamed. I just felt ashamed of who I was at the core. And like, shame energetically is like, you know, when you feel shame, you just want to hide in the ball. You don't want anyone to look at you. You feel so disgusting with yourself. Like, God, it feels like a fucking knife to the stomach, doesn't it? So being in that shame place, and I genuinely felt like I just lived there for like years. Of course, like, no guy is going to like notice me or ask me out, or like, not that because I don't want it. Like, I did not want to go on dates. I did not want to date. Energetically, I was like, please don't look at me. Don't look at me. I hate myself. I'm ashamed of myself. Like, and like, even if you're not consciously thinking all the time those thoughts, like, when that's something that's like, I don't know, an undercurrent, a vibration in your field, whatever you want to call it, people pick up on that. Like, I do believe everyone is like psychic to some degree. Like, we're all picking up energy and auras and information and things that like we cannot explain. So yeah, my mid-20s, I was very single, not talking to anyone. I love when single people are like, or girls are like, oh my God, I'm like so single, and they're like talking to how many guys, or like actually going on dates, or like that kind of stuff. But when I talk about like me being chronically single, like actually single, it like not talking to anyone, not having any kind of connection, not having a crush, like none of that stuff. And last year, as I said, last year was a big year for me, and a really big story that I rewrote for myself was reframing how I saw my relationship status, how I saw myself as someone who has been single until being 28. I mean, I'm still single, but I had to rewrite the story that I told myself around being chronically single, because it was something that maybe not as big as some of my other insecurities, but it was something that was a big part of my shame complex. Or like, you know, when you're spiraling, it's like, and I've never had a boyfriend, I've never been in a relationship. Like, just one more thing to add to the list of whatever else your mind has drafted up. Um, but last year, I journaled a shit ton, and I started to tell myself, I'm like, you know what, Kiara? I think it's fucking cool that you've been single your whole life. I think it's so cool that you've been single for all of your 20s. I think that you have done like so much cool shit that you would not have been able to do if you were in a relationship. Like, would you have been able to like pick up and move across the other side of the world if you were in a relationship? Probably not. Would you have been able to travel so much during my 20s? I feel like, yeah, I got to travel a shit ton really up until COVID. I did my exchange in the Netherlands. I was there for like nearly a year before COVID hit. There are so many things that I have gotten to selfishly do for myself that, again, not saying that it's impossible to do these things or like you can't do these things within a relationship, but it changes things. Like, you do have to consider someone else. So I was like, holy crap, that's really fucking cool. I also started to tell myself, like, oh my God, like, how cool, like, being independent is badass. Like, being able to, again, spend all of your 20s alone and figuring out who you are is fucking cool. Like, how many people can say that they selfishly used, I mean, literally their whole life up until now to really feel solid in who they are? And like, I started to frame it as like, everything's been happening perfectly on time. Like, I don't know if I would have been ready to like intentionally date or like get into a relationship before being like my age now. Like, only now do I feel like that I am feeling like, okay, maybe this is something I want to call into my life. But it's because I feel much more solid within myself. I feel like I had to go through that period of depression or the dark ages to like work through a lot of my own personal shit that might not have been able to I might not have been able to work through that if I had been in a relationship. I think there is certain kinds of self-growth and healing you can only do when you're single. In the same respects, I also want to say there's a cap on that too. And I think that's what I'm experiencing now. Not that there's like a cap on my like individual growth or like whatever you want to call it, but I'm like, oh, I think I'm like ready to like experience growth within a relationship, because like you actually as I said, lots of stuff you can only heal on your own, but there's a lot of shit that is hidden under the carpet, under the rugs, in the subconscious, in the psyche, that only comes up in romantic relationships, that only comes up in dating, in terms of attachment wounds, like, yeah, insecurities that you didn't know they were there. And like, that's a good thing, right? Relationships are a mirror. So yeah, last year I really started to cement these new stories about myself, and I stopped viewing like having never been in a relationship or not being in a relationship. I stopped viewing that as a bad thing or a wrong thing or something that needed to be fixed. And I mean, like, honestly, I never felt like it was something I had to fix, but I did pick up, obviously, conditioning or stories or like, you know, from friends, from family, like subtle things like, oh, like, are you seeing anyone? Are you talking to anyone? Should I set you up with someone? Like, there's a lot of societal programming still that says that if you're a woman, yeah, how do I frame this? That like it has changed. Obviously has changed a lot. But I think as a woman or even as a person, it's like if you're not, first of all, if you're not in a relationship, okay, as a woman, yes, your value did used to be determined by if you were in a relationship. Also, your like security, like your literal financial security and physical security was determined by having a mate, a husband. Like you kind of just married someone, right, that could provide for you and could keep you safe. Like we've gone a long way from that, but even still, I think like if you're a woman or again just a person, whoever, like if you're not dating, if you're not desired by other people, like if you're not engaging in that domain of life, I think there still is some judgment around that, or there still is some like shame around that. I mean, the only word that really I think fits, yeah, is judgment. Um, yeah, part of me wants to say it's abnormal. Like, I do feel like I've lived an abnormal 20s. And, like, we've all lived, like, individual lives. Like, everyone has their, like, uniqueness. And it's like, I'm not special. Like, other people are not special. But I think from the people that I've known in my life, I would say almost everyone has at least been in a long-term relationship. Like my younger sister got into her first long-term relationship in her early 20s, like even though she was also a late bloomer. But most people I know have had long-term serious relationships. So I'm like comparing myself to, or just like measuring that, yes, from like the people I have known, I definitely feel like I've had an abnormal sort of journey in that department. Anyway, so I think like, well, excuse me. Let's have a sip of water. Okay, also, I used to think it was such a like big deal, or like it like baffled me, like my friends that would sort of get into relation, like, oh, I fell into a relationship, like, oh no, like, just kind of easily fall into relationships. And I used to be like, oh, like, how? Like, I don't get it. Like, what? And like, I think I used to view it as something that was like, again, might not even be like a conscious thought I had, but something unattainable or hard or difficult or just like something that's not for me. Because I was like, oh, relationships are for other people, like they're not for me. And I think part of like rewriting my relationship to myself, or like rewriting those stories around my dating history, I think like it also just clicked something in my brain where I was like, dating is not a big deal. Like, I used to make it this like scary thing. And I think I'm like putting this together now. I think why I made it into a scary thing, like dating is scary, like relationships are scary, is because of that deep shame complex, right? Because like you can't hide every part of yourself when you're in a relationship with someone. Like they're gonna see the parts of yourself that you don't like, or like the shameful, ugly, like whatever. So yeah, it's like of course I would not want someone to see me in that way, but yeah, something just really clicked the last few months, and I just think it's no big deal anymore. It's like I knocked the importance off. I just knocked the like pedestal off. And like, who cares? Like, who literally cares? Who literally cares if I'm single for my whole life? Like, I don't give a shit that I've been single until I've been 28. Who cares if you're like in a relationship? Who cares if you want to put yourself out there and date? Who cares if you want to like use the apps and like go on multiple dates with multiple men? Like, there's no right or wrong. And also, like, it's no big deal. And I think, like, coming into like dating and putting myself out there like the last couple months, like yeah, I just started to see it as no big deal, and I just started to see people as people, you know. And again, comes back to like the shame complex and like inferiority complex, where like, oh my god, like they're so attractive, they're so cool, like pedestaling everyone. And I just started to knock everyone off that fucking pedestal and realize like we're all people. We're all humans. Like humans are weird. Humans are awkward. Like humans have their own bag of insecurities and shit and past experiences and also goals and aspirations and dreams or unique hobbies or identities or like, you know, humans are humans. And like I think coming into dating with that perspective has actually made it really fun for me. And I also have had pretty good experiences so far. It's very like early days, but yeah, I mean, like some things haven't worked out, but nothing has really been traumatic for me. And like, I also choose to believe that there are good men out there. Like, I don't know, I get like a lot of content. I have a lot of friends and people in my life that are very in their I hate men era. And call me naive, call me whatever. I don't choose to believe that. I choose to believe there are good men out there, people that I would be interested in and want to spend time with, and likewise them with me. And like, I think these people that have the belief of like, I hate men, all men suck, blah, 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 like, that's what they continue to manifest in their experience because you're constantly trying to find evidence to confirm what you already believe. And like, likewise in the past, I think I had this belief that like, because it was a pattern for me, I had this belief that like, oh, all men don't want to date me, I'm crazy, like men don't want to commit to me, men always leave me for their ex, men like, yeah, never want to date me. And that was the experience I continued to manifest, right? Like, to see, like, that was the theory, the guiding theory or belief I had in my mind. And so that is what I continued to attract or find evidence for. So when you go into dating, I think you have to be very clear with what is the belief or intention or guiding theory that I'm going into this experience with, because it will shape it to some degree. And I think for me, like why I am enjoying dating now is because I actually have a pretty good belief around it currently of just like, I believe there are good men out there. Dating is fun. I love like meeting new people, talking to new people, having different conversations. I love learning about myself. Like, I don't know, just having like all these different affirmations, and like so far I've been having a good time. Yes, I made some wonky experiences, but not bad. Like just more information, more contrast, which is giving me clarity. I'm like, oh, okay. I liked this about this situation. I didn't like this about this situation. And I think like the last person I was seeing, as I'm like, I guess I'm still processing it to some degree, but I think now I'm like, oh my god, I went into that experience like very fresh, baby-eyed, like, let's just see, like, let's just like go on a few dates, see what happens. And like, in a way, I manifested, I called in exactly what I was looking for, but there were things that I wasn't clear on that now I am clear on. So thank you, universe. Thank you, universe, for sending me the perfect like experience for me to learn and grow from and to get more clarity on and to really solidify a lot of like in a way, concepts that I've been like integrating. And yeah, no fucking regrets. No regrets, babes. Okay, I am going to leave this episode here. I'm sure there's going to be multiple parts to this topic. I don't know if it's going to be all at once, but definitely a lot more to share. So I hope you have a great weekend or day whenever you're watching this, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.